Tonight's story is all about the Silk Road, an incredible trading path that connected the East and the West. So let's go on our own journey now. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing in the middle of a vast desert. The wind carries grains of golden sand across the horizon. In the distance, a caravan of camels slowly makes its way forward. Each camel carries rolls of shimmering silk, bags of fragrant spices, and chests filled with treasures. Beside them walk merchants with tired steps yet determined eyes. They are traveling along a road that changed the history of the world, the Silk Road. The story of the Silk Road began more than 2,000 years ago, during the Han Dynasty of China. At that time, silk was one of the most precious commodities in the world. It was soft, radiant, and so luxurious that only the nobility of Europe could afford it. From the capital city of Chang'an, which is now Shen, caravans carried silk across the harsh Taklamakan Desert, over the treacherous Pamir Mountains, through Central Asia, Persia, and eventually to Rome. The journey was long and dangerous, taking months, sometimes even years. But it was also full of hope, opportunity, and the promise of fortune. Now let's meet Zhang Qian, a brave Chinese explorer who is considered the discoverer of the Silk Road. He set out on his journey around 138 BC, following ancient trading routes used by nomadic tribes. His mission was to find allies against enemies of the Han Dynasty. What he didn't know was that he would be the first to bring the riches of the East to the doorstep of the West. Zhang Qian's travels took him through the desolate landscapes of the Taklamakan Desert, the towering peaks of the Himalayas, and across vast plains that stretched towards the Caspian Sea. During his journey, he encountered different cultures, languages, and customs. He saw majestic snow-covered mountains, lush green valleys, and bustling cities filled with exotic goods. When he finally returned to Chang'an, he brought back tales of distant lands, including fertile regions beyond the western regions that were rich in gold, precious stones, and other valuable commodities. His report sparked the interest of Emperor Wu of Han, who sent further expeditions to explore these newly discovered lands and establish trade relations. And that is how the Silk Road started. Despite its name, the Silk Road was never about silk alone. It was a vast network of trade routes that crisscrossed Eurasia. The name was given to it by Europeans in the 19th century because silk was one of the most famous Chinese products reaching the West, but it was only one item among many. Along the Silk Road, countless goods were exchanged between East and West. From the East came silk, porcelain, tea, spices, jade, and later, gunpowder, paper, and printing. From the West came glassware, textiles, gold, silver, ivory, and coral. These goods not only enriched the lives of those who traded them, but also contributed to the economic growth of the cities and empires along the route. For instance, the demand for Chinese silk in Rome led to the establishment of silk-making workshops in the West. Roman glassware and textiles, known for their quality and craftsmanship, found eager buyers in the East. One invention in particular, paper, spread along the Silk Road to the Middle East, and from there into Europe, forever transforming the way knowledge was preserved and shared. Before paper, books were expensive to produce, making knowledge exclusive to the wealthy and well-educated. But the lightweight, durable, and inexpensive material allowed for the mass production of books, leading to wider access to education and information. This had a profound impact on the Renaissance, the scientific revolution, and the Enlightenment. Without paper, the exchange of ideas along the Silk Road would have been limited, and the spread of knowledge to Europe might have been delayed for centuries. But the Silk Road was much more than a trading route. It was a conduit for cultural exchange, bringing together people from different backgrounds and beliefs. Buddhism, originating in India, traveled eastward along the Silk Road to China, Korea, and Japan, where it took root and flourished. The spread of religion not only influenced the spiritual landscape of Asia, but also shaped the arts, philosophy, and daily life of the people. Likewise, the Silk Road facilitated the exchange of artistic ideas. For example, Greco-Buddhist art emerged in the Gandhara region, blending Greek and Buddhist artistic traditions. This fusion of cultures created unique sculptures and paintings that are still admired today for their beauty and historical significance. To support the endless journeys along the Silk Road, travelers needed places to rest and refresh themselves. That's where caravanserais came in. These ancient inns provided shelter for weary travelers and their animals, offering a place to sleep, eat, and store their goods. Caravanserais were built throughout the route, particularly in areas that were far apart from settlements. They typically featured a courtyard surrounded by rooms for travelers and stables for their animals. Some caravanserais were quite luxurious, offering additional amenities such as restaurants, gardens, and even libraries. The largest and most opulent caravanserais were often built by the wealthy merchants and noble families who played a significant role in the Silk Road trade. These grand establishments served as symbols of their power and status while providing essential services to travelers. Today, the ruins of caravanserais stand as silent witnesses to the vibrant past of the Silk Road, allowing us to glimpse the grandeur and importance of these structures in the ancient world. Some famous ones include the caravanserai of Sultan Hassan in Iran, the Jami caravanserai in Afghanistan, and the Yanguan Tower in China. Some cities along the Silk Road reached incredible heights of greatness, becoming hubs of trade, culture, and innovation. Among them, Samarkand in Uzbekistan holds a special place. Located in the heart of Central Asia, Samarkand was a vital crossroads of the Silk Road. Its strategic position made it a melting pot of cultures, attracting merchants, scholars, and adventurers from across the known world. During its heyday in the 14th century under the rule of Timur, Samarkand was a treasure trove of art, science, and architecture. Its magnificent mosques, madrasas, and tombs, such as the Registan Square and the Ghuriya Mir, showcased exquisite craftsmanship and became iconic landmarks of the city. Samarkand's influence extended beyond its borders as it served as a center for astronomical observations, medical advancements, and literary achievements. The city's intellectual prowess earned it the title of the Heart of the World. Another prominent city was Bukhara in modern-day Uzbekistan. Known as the Jewel of the Silk Road, Bukhara was a prominent stop for traders and pilgrims alike. Its historic landmarks, including the Poikelian complex and the Samanids Mausoleum, stand as testaments to its rich heritage. Bukhara was not just a commercial hub, but also a center of Islamic learning with renowned scholars and theologians making it their home. The city's strategic location on the Silk Road ensured its prosperity and cultural vibrancy for centuries. The Silk Road was never without its challenges. Travelers faced numerous perils on their journeys, from the harsh weather conditions to the threat of robbery and violence. The scorching heat of the desert, the biting cold of the mountains, and the unpredictable sandstorms tested the resilience of both the traders and their goods. To protect themselves from the elements and potential threats, merchants often traveled in large convoys. These massive processions of camels and horses provided a sense of security against bandits and wild animals. However, despite the precautions, danger lurked around every bend. Bandits and nomadic tribes often targeted caravans for their valuable cargo. The remote stretches of the Silk Road, particularly in Central Asia and Persia, were notorious for such attacks. To defend their goods and their lives, merchants sometimes employed armed guards. These escorts, typically made up of local soldiers or members of the caravan, were tasked with protecting the valuable cargo and ensuring the safety of the travelers. Additionally, travelers also had to contend with the treacherous terrain of the Silk Road. The journey through the Pamir Mountains, for instance, was perilous with narrow winding paths and steep drops. Patience and endurance were key as the caravans moved at the pace of the slowest animal, often enduring weeks to traverse the rugged terrain. But despite the dangers and hardships, the allure of the Silk Road remained strong. The promise of exotic goods, new cultures, and untold fortunes drew merchants and explorers to embark on the perilous journey. Their bravery and determination in navigating the Silk Road ensured the continued flow of trade and cultural exchange between the East and the West. Though the Silk Road as it once was no longer exists, its legacy remains. Sea routes and later railways and airplanes eventually replaced the slow march of camel caravans. Yet traces of the Silk Road are still with us today. The spices in your meal, the paper of the book you hold, the melodies of music blending cultures, all of these carry whispers of that ancient road. The Silk Road was not only a path of goods. It was a road of ideas, of religions, of friendships, and of human connection. It reminds us that the world has never truly been separate. Every journey, every exchange, every story is a thread in the great fabric of human history. And as you continue your evening, whether washing dishes, folding clothes, or drifting to sleep, remember that you too are part of a journey that connects us all. The journey we call the Silk Road. That's our story for tonight. If you enjoyed this tale and want to hear more adventures like it, don't forget to subscribe. We have lots of fascinating stories waiting to be discovered. Until next time, keep exploring the world and never stop asking questions. Thanks for watching.